some scientists, far too out of their reach. There is a lot more study being done scientifically now into the spiritual versions of frequency. One thing I wanted to say to what you were saying, Azzy, was you like the being able to be imaginative in the spiritual side of it. To me, that's kind of the wrong way of saying it, because those that have felt it aren't being imaginative. They've felt the energies, they've worked with it. And so it's not an imaginary thing that they're working with. And that's where
I didn't mean to
everyone gets
say
so
that.
passionate when they're discussing it. Because when you have felt something, when you've done something, no one can tell you otherwise. You know, so it doesn't matter when people want science and numbers and want to, you know, you're dreaming, head in the cloud. Sure, yeah, but you know, differently. So
I didn't mean to devalue those things. I would just say that
I think
it's because probably of my inability to experience those things. Even my dreams are like almost colorless. That's why I didn't experience these things, and that's why it's like a group of like unknown like things to me. That's why I kind of see it from the outside, and
Can you hear me?
I have like these. Yeah, I do hear
Hello.
you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mendez.
Can you hear me though?
But I cannot hear.
Can you hear Mendez?
Komitse, yeah. Hold on.
Hello. You hear Mendez?
Yeah, check. 1 2 1 2.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Yeah,
okay, I was muted too.
Go ahead. Oh, she's on mute.
Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I was
just
talking
you were
to
getting
you
into
guys
it
the whole time.
Hush.
Yeah, actually, you probably didn't hear my comment as well. I said that it's because of my inability to experience spiritual things in my own like sensory level. Am I glitching? Okay. On my sensory level, that's why I kind of have to put it into a like some category where I just like it's a box for spiritual things, and like I put there people who talk about it, like ideas, different things. So I kind of keep it that box. I didn't mean to devalue it and say it's not meaningful. I would just like I choose the scientific path a little bit more just because it's more understandable to me. My brain works better than my sensory stuff. That's why I would say, and that's why it's mesmerizing to me. That's why I'm getting more and more interested into spiritual part. So that way, it can give like. It's like whenever you have different skills, you want to achieve mastery at the skill that you have talent for, but at the same time to be a person with a balanced person, you still have to know your weaknesses, your weak points, and also, you know, sometimes get back to those points and give practice to those, so that way you can have more balance. So that's what I'm doing. I'm achieving mastery.
Clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep,
I'm
sorry.
talking too much.
So yeah, I just not that, sorry, maybe saying you were wrong in saying that. No, nobody's ever wrong in their own feelings. I don't like to put a lot of what we're here for. This is something that bugs me sometimes with. Some people have the idea of it can only be one way, and to me, nothing is one way. Everybody has seen it from a different angle and experienced things that you may never know. That's why this is called the theory of everything. So, yeah, to shut someone down on what they perceive or believe is not a great thing. So it wasn't saying that you were wrong in saying it, but just that many people that speak on it from a spiritual side have felt it. So more quantitative in their minds.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I would love to get more stuff like in that, and try to experience some things in my own perspective and my own almost sensory level. So that's why I'm curious about this lucid dreaming stuff and everything. So I'm still, you know, finding my best way. So far, it feels like psychedelic experiences are like the most maybe doable thing to me, because it's just like a turn on tool that is easier, because meditations take a lot of time, and it just like a certain type of personality, I would say, and like spiritual things, I think you should have a talent for that, like a almost imaginative, like sensory level that is specific. I do not have that, so yeah, I use some other stuff. Okay, Komitsu, do you still have? Oh, you did. Hold on a sec. You don't.
I just want to finish. Sorry,
I'm having like a board in front of me, so I'm sorry I didn't see you.
Yeah, I muted myself because I thought I was finished. But just to answer you say you need to have an imaginative thought for meditation. Not in this world, you don't.
Oh, really?
You can get everything in here if you want it. You go through meditation programs. They walk you through the whole thing. And the visual side of it really does help your mind, because a lot of it is convincing your mind of something. And so, yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, okay.
if you wanted something in meditation, you can find it.
I do practice meditation, but it feels like it's not like to achieve the level that I want, like that, you know, a different level of like altered states of mind. It's going to take a lot of time from me because I don't have like a specific, I would say, almost complexion to be successful in practicing that thing. So it feels like there are many tools, and based on my own almost like a combination of things, I choose something that is, you know, works best and most effectively for me, and some other things that I can try, but still maybe they're not going to be as effective, I would say. So, Justin keeps sending me messages. I'm like, electrons, muons, like tau, neutrons. I'm not very knowledgeable that stuff, so I would love to listen about it. You can bring up all the ideas that you see fit. Okay, and like I would love to. Yeah, if you want to ask something, feel free to ask everybody. So it's like an open space. So hold on a sec. Let me see who else is on the list waiting forever to be heard. Kumitsu, are you still here? The board doesn't.
Yes.
There you are. Hey, Cornelius. I just joined. Kumitsu, I think you don't have a megaphone. Let me do that for you. Yes.
Oh, thank you. First off, if you're interested in lucid dreaming, I have a technique that I'm very confident in. If you want to listen
message
to
me so
I can share it.
Sure.
I actually wanted to react to Paul and his story about a dream that was strangely predictive. I have one of my own as well, and it was actually about my father on New Year's morning. It was Christmas Day, like 6 years ago, and I had a dream that he was going in surgery, and you know, I didn't think anything of it. I went downstairs and I see my father on a couch, and he's like moaning that his belly hurts, and you know, nothing serious. So I jokingly said, "It's funny because I just woke up and the last dream I had was, you know, you are going in surgery and everyone's saying, you know, goodbye, and you know, in a happy way." It was like optimistic, and he was like, "Don't even joke about it." So we think nothing of it. The conversation ended, and to give a little backstory. We are both introverted and we don't have a really great relationship. We don't talk at all. I don't dream about my father at all, like maybe 2 times in the last 5 years. So that's why I actually told him, because it was something that stood out. Anyway, next day I woke up and I see my mom in the kitchen, and I'm like, we are having lunch, and I'm asking where's my father, and she said, he actually drove to the hospital. And he underwent surgery right away.
That was
and
quick.
It saved his life. So it was my story that I'll never forget, because I can't really grasp it myself. What happened there?
Thanks for sharing. Very interesting.
Like the lucid dreaming thing too.
Okay, chat real quick. There you go.
Sorry, it said I was on the air. My bad. I was just saying I'd like the lucid dreaming thing too, if you're gonna send it on.
Yeah, can you send me the message right
versions.
now so I can message it to all, since the topic is relevant to the topic? So yeah, I also wanted to ask, like, maybe this is a good tradition. I think of the system. Hey, Mendes, we should think about it. I want to have like a reference list, maybe for each event, or maybe to have it like permanently in the space. Anyway, yeah, good idea.
There's a Facebook group on lucid dreaming which I belong to.
So if you're interested in the lucid dreaming thing, it's not something that's written. It's something I've tested, and you know, maybe I read it somewhere. I don't know. It's like 5 years ago plus. But if you wanna hear the shorts, the digested version, basically. How do I say this? If you want a lucid dream, what happens in your dream is what happens in your life. And if you're not paying attention to what you are doing right now and where you are, and are things that are affecting you in your normal life. You're not doing it in your dream either. So that's why you don't realize you're sleeping. So to give you a solid example, for example, imagine most people I imagine here are working. And if you go to work in the morning, and let's say you go on a bus and you arrive at work, and if I just appear at work and I ask you, what new things did you see today on your way to work? And if you were unable to say anything, you were unaware of your journey. And it's the same in a dream. You just go through your dream on like a Android automatic level, and you never question it. So it's just, you just finish, you wake up and like, it was a dream, but you don't realize that in the dream. So the technique is this. Again, you're going to your work, but your job is, you notice, you try to mentally grasp everything. So example, I wake up and I leave the door, and I notice the color of the steps. I notice anyone that I've met when I've walked the steps. Was it a lady? Was it a guy? How old were they? And I just, you just mentally like
aware,
say it. Just
Ordered,
and
yeah.
you try to do it with as many things as you can. Like, it's mentally exhausting, extremely. But my journey by bus was around an hour, so I tried to do it an hour. And the measurement of success is how many times do you lose your focus to the point that you're starting to think about something was not initiated by you, right? Random thoughts. So, and it's really hard because they usually come when you start. It usually takes about a minute, and then takes you 2 minutes to realize that you are on the automatic mode. You're thinking about random stuff that your brain just serves you to keep you entertained. And you have to keep, stir it back and just keep really digging. Like, what's the weather? What's on the road are there? Many people are coming on the bus, off the bus. What's the color of the sky? How many stops did we stop? Was there any accident? Just trying to mentally add as many things as you can while not losing your train of thought. And then you stop. You arrive at work and you realize you've succeeded. Is the ultimate test. Before you leave for work, you close your eyes, there's like a mental bubble of things that you are aware of around you. Like, if someone walks close to you, maybe you are aware of them. They are like half a meter around you. If they are 5 meters, you don't even register them in normal life that anyone was there, because it's not threatening to you, so you didn't register. But after this like mental exercise, after like 60 minutes, you are aware of people that are 20 meters behind you, 50 meters in front of you. You are aware of the sounds 50 meters away. You don't need to really look around on a crosswalk because you hear the cars that are to your left 50 meters out, because you can hear the road noise. Right, it's just your bubble of awareness is that much expanded, and because of this exercise, when you fall asleep, you actually do the same thing in the dream. You just pay attention, and when you pay attention, like, this is different. I'm actually asleep, and that's how it works.
Interesting.
Sorry, that might have been a little bit long.
No, not too bad, because it's relevant to the topic.
Order.
Fizzle, 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 fizzle. No, it's lovely that we have more people, but I'm a little bit panicking because the list is long, so I have to look for names. Fizzle, let me give you a megaphone. I think I heard you saying something in between, and I also have some hand
Oh no,
raisers.
I was just interjecting. Or saying that what it sounded like he was describing a type of mindfulness meditation. You're being aware and present in the moment, as opposed to checked out and living in the future or the past. And it puts you there.
It's exactly that. But when people are meditating,
megaphone.
some
You
people
lost
don't
the
know
megaphone.
what the goal is, and this is more active version of it because everyone understands what the perception should be and what the result should be.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
And
no.
Ozzy, I don't know if you gave me the microphone because I had my hands up, or if I would still be on the list for that. Should I
You are.
Yeah, I was giving
wait my
I was
turn,
giving
or
people on air megaphone.
Yep.
You can go ahead and speak up if you have a, if you want to interject, feel free.
Yeah. I also
I don't
see
know why she couldn't hear Fizzle or.
No, but what I'm wondering is if I should take advantage of my megaphone. If
that's
I
why
lose
I'll
it,
leave
will
you
I
with
go to
it.
the bottom of the list, or?
No, actually, yeah, you do. Every time somebody raises a hand, I see when they do that. So I have number 1, number 2, number 3, and like Jet was like 30 minutes ago, Komitsu was 28 minutes ago. So that way, I do have you like guys in a descending list.
In that
So
case,
you're
then I
very
would like
aware
to
of what's happening.
Yeah.
say
Also,
Just make sure you mute your mic, and then when you ever want to inject, you can still have your megaphone. All right.
Yep. Or just tell me, can I take the like initiative? And actually, I see on the list like a couple of people who were waiting for a long time, and they are not very like often on speakers. It's Shell and Simulacra. I think Simulacra is new to our event, so maybe I can take advantage of my power in here and give you a megaphone. Actually, I did that. Can you please join the circle? So...
Am I on air now?
Yep, I can hear you certainly. So I can
me?
see you and everybody.
Yeah. For sure. I just wanted to reference back to the conversation. I'm new to this, so I don't really know what's going on in here, but I jumped in when they were talking about kind of the difference between like science and religion, spirituality and all of that. And that last conversation, the gentleman that like really knowledgeable, I really appreciate kind of all the references you were giving. But there's recently a book that I read by an author. Her name's Annika Harris. She wrote a book called Consciousness that kind of talked about that whole like what it's like to be an organism, right? Like that experience of like what it's like to be a bat, so like what the hard question of consciousness. And she kind of tackled this a little bit. And there was a term that I was not aware of called panpsychism, kind of referring to kind of all matter and all the universe is imbued with some sort of like consciousness, and it's like everything now becomes an emergent property of just matter colliding and happening, and we're just observers of it. And then as we interact with this reality, it changes, it evolves, and then science is just a word, it's a construct that we use to understand reality. And I'm bilingual, so I speak multiple languages, and being bilingual, it opens up my understanding of certain words more broader. I think about, for example, I was reading a book recently. It was referring to how the words.
Which languages? So
yes.
I have a context.
I speak Spanish and English.
Oh, okay.
But the book that I was reading was talking about the word science and how the word science, in contrast to its counterparts in other languages, such as German. And I don't know how to pronounce the word in German. It's like I think I pulled it up on my. Yeah. Does anybody here know German?
Good
hold
question.
on. Let me pull it up.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Here, I got it up. Wissenschaft.
Wissenschaft. I think I knew the word from somewhere. Don't remember.
Which has a completely wider scope of understanding than the abstract word science. So I think, just kind of adding to the conversation of like, as we engage one another, multidisciplinary, multilingual, multicultural people, we then really start to understand reality better. When you have a worldview that's only informed by one group of people, one type of people, we can all agree that science is predominantly ruled by old white men, and philosophy, and really like a lot of the sciences that we follow. So what ends up happening is we have a very narrow view of reality versus, when we really engage other cultures who might not speak the language that we speak or understand the words that the constructs that we've been fed. I think about like, I was born in Mexico. I immigrated to the United States, and through this process, I was given a new culture that's completely different than my own, and understanding that it is that simple of like the constructs that we're given shape our view of reality. So as I like I was saying before, engage other people in other cultures, I realized that like even a word like science is so empty. It could never grasp the entirety of my human experience. So that's kind of what I want to add to that. It's just it's just a framework. It's just another structure to understand, or another lens to see reality through, in my opinion.
I'd like to respond to that if that's okay.
Yeah, go on, Faisal. Yeah,
you do have a megaphone, so you have uncontrollable power here.
I totally agree with you, Simulacra, and I think that when I know scientifically minded people who are of the kind of like, well, actually, kind of bent, the people who are like really kind of get a kick out of like disproving or kind of bullying with data and measurements, I guess, and not something I appreciate, and I also think it limits our potential because I think we have it's kind of one of the beauties of our minds, regardless of the culture we come from, is that we have like lots of different ways to look at things. We have we have problem solving, we have this intuitive senses, and I think that the intuitive is critical. It's important. It's what feeds science with questions, and it's also a shortcut. You get to understanding without having to prove. Maybe with like a kind of a more measured perspective might say you'd have a higher level or degree of error, say, but it doesn't really matter when your goal is to find a truth, whether you understand it in like the specific way that somebody else would understand it or not, but find something that's it's exploitable for your own understanding, for your own sense of comfort, for your own sense of safety in the world, and so I just kind of wanted to clarify a little bit when I was saying that before. I definitely don't come from a science versus religion perspective. To me, what's important is is that those two things aren't at combat, and that when those two things can communicate and understand the strengths of one versus the strengths of another, to me, that's the most balanced and powerful state. That where I start to bristle a little bit and honestly start to check out of a conversation is
misuse of words.
When not just misuse of words, but to go back to that concept of like defensiveness, right? So whether science is being defensive from a more intuitive, like again, more intuitive perspective, or if somebody with an intuitive perspective is doing the opposite. For instance, I don't mean to attack this idea. The idea that you can imbue water with emotion and then image the crystalline structure is total bunk. And I'll say it flat out: that guy's a liar. It's a really interesting concept, and it leads to very interesting thought. But the idea that is any proof of anything is it interferes with the understanding that the person who is reaching for it as a tool is hoping to provide, and the connection, because it's the person who's hearing it, who understands that like the definition of a crystal is its specific structure. There's no variety in it, and if you could measure it,
only exists for nanoseconds as well. The structure of water, hence the memory of water doesn't exist.
If you could do that, you would be. It wouldn't just be the scientist in Japan who's doing it. That would be one of the largest kind of scientific discoveries of our day, and infinitely exploitable as far as like manufacturing and chemistry and like literally that would be one of the most powerful experience, like discoveries we ever had. Like, oh, we just like have some happy people think thoughts into the water. My point is, I have vast respect for the intuitive, which other people would call the spiritual approach. I think it's important, and also for the hey, we need to, we want to measure, we want to calculate, and we want to, because we need to engineer, say. And I think that when either one tries to, take don the costume of the other, it's a little. That's to me where imbalanced? It's not just imbalance. It's to me that's where that combat comes from. That's where that when the scientists are trying to dismiss, or the policy writers are trying to silence, or when the spiritual and intuitive people are, saying, or just like, saying something that like they believe. And to use Jet's idea here, right? I think it's totally rude and dismissive of a person to tell you who like somebody who's felt a thing, who's working with, and what you would call an energy, to say that is nothing, right? To me would be like, it's totally rude, totally dismissive. And also that person limits themselves from gaining their wisdom, right? But as like me, as like, when I listen to these things, it's sort of a, how do I say this? As much as I can, I try to fit what a person is saying into my own kind of ability to like empathize and connect, right? And I wouldn't want to like attack like your idea of like, the physical reality of the emotional experiences you're talking about. But sometimes I might reach for clarity because I'm a person who thinks in both ways, but in a lot of ways, I like to understand things mechanically.